Hey everyone, and welcome to this special edition of a Will's fifth quarter special Facebook Live. It is February 3rd, so this isn't the usual monthly one. This is kind of a surprise one because today is Super Bowl Sunday, the day every sports fan that watches the game of football looks forward to. But it's a great day for sports fans. You know, you get to sit down, watch the fun halftime show, the commercials, and all that jazz. Everybody, loves their different part of the Super Bowl and making predictions. And we're doing that here as this is the first time that Will's fifth quarter special will be doing a Facebook Live just an hour before Super Bowl 53 takes place, as the New England Patriots are back in it once again, but they are facing off against a younger team, a younger coach in Sean McVay, his second year at the helm of the Los Angeles Rams. They are taking on the New England Patriots. As I mentioned, it's just an hour away at 5:30. It's a big one, folks. It's a game that a lot of people thought that the Saints would be facing the Patriots or the Chiefs. They didn't think it could be the Rams because of that controversial call we saw back in the NFC Championship. That's a play people are going to be debating for a long time, just like that Cody Parkey kick that kept the Bears from moving on against the Eagles. But we're going to focus on the big two teams here. We're also going to talk about how Matt Nagy got a big award honor as well this weekend before the Super Bowl. So he got a big honor as well. And we're going to talk a little Redbird basketball briefly. Just they did something pretty big yesterday. But we have two people already joining right off the video. Nicole Norris, love the North. My relatives, the Norrises, back up north over there in Mount Greenwood. So, yes, the commercials. Nicole, I have to agree. So it's great to see you tuning in. And Mr. Cott, who is looking forward to not just White Sox baseball, but a good Super Bowl tonight. So go ahead and check out our Twitter poll at William D. Farlow, as I mentioned in a previous post or two on our social media. That will be carrying on throughout the evening, during the game, after the game. And we'd like to see what opinions you each have about the commercials, the game itself, what you wanted to see in the game after it's over, what you're expecting in the offseason. Give us any voice you have about something pertaining to the Super Bowl. Share it with us. And we'll even talk the halftime show a little bit on the Twitter. You know, it's part of the Super Bowl, so we'll talk about that. Share that with us at William D. Farlow, and we'll talk about it on the next episode. What we find out from each of you, we'll go over the complete results of the Twitter poll. I'm going to pull it up right now. It's been up for a few hours now. We're just going to take a quick look at that, and it's doing pretty well so far, but still growing. We're going to start with Illinois State Redbird Athletics to start off this pre-Super Bowl Facebook Live because they got some really big news just because of the matchup they had yesterday. They were fighting for first place in Missouri Valley Conference, the men's basketball team on the campus of Illinois State, my alma mater, and they faced the visiting Loyola University Chicago Ramblers that went to the Final Four last year. They were coming into Redbird Arena the first time since those Final Four honors last year in March Madness. But the Redbirds just played really good defense. Just watching that game was really impressed with what Dan Muller's team did last night. Listen to a few of my friends that were on it at WZND, the old campus radio station I used to work at. So a shout out to them. Love my Z&D family. We talk about them all the time on the show here. And we also want to give some props to a few guys that have been on the show and one that's coming in the future. Joey Dwyer was their studio host, Scott Rosala, the presser, and a shout out also goes to the team of Hector Carrion and Isaac Missile. And those guys do a really good job down there. You know, we're going to feature them more probably on the Basketball Talk of the Redbird Sports Update that we mentioned is every other episode, so that will be coming up this week on episode 26 of Will's Fifth Quarter Special, recap the Super Bowl. But a shout out to the Redbird men's basketball team, Dan Muller and his staff. Keep up the good work. Women's team also beat by a score of 70-66 Valparaiso, so that was a good win for them. So that's just a little bit of what's been going on there. But a shout out to those two teams. They took down the Loyola Ramblers last night, 75-68, and that was a really good win for the Redbirds, for their program. They're now top of the Missouri Valley Conference standings, sharing it with Loyola right now. But we have a shout out, and it is about the Super Bowl. We're going to get to that in just a minute, as the Chicago Bears. Yes, we mentioned earlier on that they didn't move forward, but a team that played so well like them, obviously had somebody leading them the right way. And one of their coaches that won one of these two award honors is no longer with them. He took a head coaching job with the Denver Broncos, very well deserved, as he's talked about historically throughout his coaching career. He deserved a chance to lead a team as a head coach, and that was Vic Fangio. He was the defensive coordinator of the Bears for the last few years, and he got assistant coach of the year. So our congrats go to former Chicago Bears defensive coordinator and now new head coach of the Denver Broncos for starting next season, Vic Fangio. We congratulate him on his award. And Matt Nagy, in his first year with Chicago Bears, was named the AP NFL Coach of the Year. That's a really big deal for the Bears. It means they have a really good coach finally, and you never know how good a coach is going to be. You have guys like John Fox in the past. The best coach the Bears have had since Matt Nagy has to be Lovie Smith. So our congrats go to Vic Fangio and Matt Nagy, and we can't wish them nothing but the best in their respective careers right now. Nagy with the Bears and Fangio with the Broncos. And we have joining us Marie Howard from next door to me. Good to have you on. And Isaac Missler, who we were just talking about. Isaac, you and your crew last night did a real good job on that call for Redbird Athletics. Shout out to you guys. And we also have a shout out we're going to read to start the Super Bowl talk. And we're going to do it a little interesting way. I'm going to give my thoughts on each team, and I'm going to leave it open to each of you to jump in, any opinions, thoughts about the games, players, anything like that. And we're going to go with it that way. Then I'm going to make my predictions, and I ask each of you in the comment section, feel free to leave your predictions for the Super Bowl, how each of these teams can do, even a player, or what you think of the commercials. It's the floor is for each of you on this. That's why I decided to do this before the Super Bowl. I want to hear each of the voices you have about the Super Bowl. It's always interesting to hear more than just one person's perspective. And we have Nicole Norris, my second cousin's wife, saying my cousin Megan is going for the Rams. Megan, I love you. I'm going for the Rams too. Good choice by my cousin there. Bridget's going for the Patriots. That's also a pretty good choice. They have a good veteran quarterback towards the end of his career, headed toward the Hall of Fame, that is well respected in the league. He's not my favorite player, but I like we do on the show, we respect any athlete, any sports program or team organization. And my cousin Caitlin's going for the Puppy Bowl. Okay. We like dogs on the show. I'm a dog lover myself, and we have Zach Wilson joining. So Zach, you're on it at the right time, my friend. We were just starting to talk about the Super Bowl, so we're starting to talk on that. Isaac, Zach, Marie, Nicole, and Mr. Cotton, go ahead and start leaving your comments about the game, predictions, and hit up our Twitter poll. We have 5 votes so far, so it's going to climb, obviously. I have faith. There's a lot of people getting ready for parties or getting their food plans ready. I love seeing the posts after the Super Bowl where people talk about what they do during the Super Bowl every year when they watch it with their families, loved ones, or friends. It's a lot of fun. I used to go to a Super Bowl party at my buddy's house, the Reicherts, all the time. All our friends were there, and it was a really good experience. And we're not doing that this year, but I have those memories for sure. Megan on Tom Brady. Yeah, he's a great quarterback, but he did have some cheating issues with him and Bill Belichick. That's still up in the air. Obviously, people are going to have their opinions, as will I. But we're unbiased in the show, so I kind of talk about both ends. But, yeah, he's Brady's a good guy. He's a really good thrower. The question will be how he's able to keep going to Gronk or certain players tonight, because the Rams have a really good defense. I love that secondary. And we're going to start with that after that nice shout out about the Patriots. The Rams have really good secondary. That's what I'm looking for to watch. And, the guys like Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib has played in a Super Bowl before, just a few or so years ago when they played in Super Bowl 50 against the Carolina Panthers. And that defense was heavily touted in Denver in that game especially. But I love the Rams D. They have guys like Ndamukong Suh, and then they brought in Dante Fowler Jr. in a trade deadline deal from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm probably missing a few names, but they have really great players on that defense. Now, obviously, the question is going to be the running backs. The thing on both offenses, you're going to really talk about the running backs, because with the Patriots, that's something you wouldn't always see historically from New England. You'd always see, them go to Gronkowski or go to Edelman or go to certain receivers, even back in the days when they had Randy Moss at the time. That was what their trademark was. But this year and last year, they started running backs. This year they have more of a running game developing. They have guys like Sony Michel, who I think is a really good player, even after this rookie season. He had a bit of banged up injuries, but that happens to any good player. But he has really good speed. I really like his pass catching ability. Gotta love the way Belichick utilizes that in his offense. You have guys like Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, Mike Gillislee, former Buffalo Bill. So many names in that run game. It's just really James White, to me, is the one I'm excited to watch of those running backs, though, because of his heroics in the last Super Bowl win for the Patriots that was a few years ago against the Atlanta Falcons and Dan Quinn's team. So we have some people joining us, so I have to give them a shout out as well. Beth Gleason from Plainfield. My old high school classmate Aaron Hort is on. Shantina from my community college, and Dr. Steve Hunt, the head of School of Communication at Illinois State University. Pleasure to have each of you on with me on this pre-Facebook Live, from Super Bowl 53, which takes place at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. So feel free to check out our Twitter, anything, Facebook. We have our Facebook page here as well. Give us a follow, or if you want an invite, go ahead and check it out. Will's Fifth Quarter Special, title as the name of the show is of that page. Feel free to post some of your stuff on that page as well. Thoughts, opinions, and more. We always take those type of opinions on the show. And we have a shout out about a commercial. I was hoping we'd talk about the commercials. It is the Budweiser commercial that one of my relatives is wanting to see. And I'm going to look it up a little bit here. Best Super Bowl commercials in the last decade. Now that we're on the subject, we got to talk about the commercials. Yes, it's about the game, but part of the game is what's in between it, and that is the commercials. So we're going to take a look at the best Super Bowl commercials. Now, obviously, Budweiser's one, but to me, the Bud Light ones have been real interesting over the past years. They've had some really interesting trademarks that they use, certain athletes, certain things, and I'm going to take a look real quick. Somebody posted last year's. It's the top 10 of last year's, and it goes into one of my favorites from last year, just watching that Super Bowl. I was still in college at the time, so this one's a little more sentimental. I get to watch it with my family, like each of you, and I'm back home, which is really exciting. I'm really excited for that, and we're going to delve in on request of Nicole Norris on some of the commercials briefly. They did one on Doritos. Now, I'm a big fan of Doritos. They're one of my favorite chips out there, and the red ones. And they did a commercial, Doritos versus Mountain Dew, featuring Morgan Freeman, Missy Elliott, and Busta Rhymes, which I think is really cool. Anything with Morgan Freeman is just awesome. They had a Rocket Mortgage one. The Old Spice guy, of course. You got to have the Old Spice guy. The one that was really popular, I know for sure, it was all over YouTube, is the – and I'm getting to that one. I'm glad my cousin Megan caught that one for me. It is the M&M one they did last year that was with Danny DeVito, and he was being a human version of an M&M. So he transformed from the regular M&Ms they show in the commercial, the animated versions of the candy, to the human version, which is really cool. Danny DeVito's a really famous actor, and it was just really neat to see. And Monster Headphones was another one. But the question will be what commercials we see. And we'll joke about it a little bit on episode 26, and I plan to have, I believe it'll be 2 people at least we're going to try. So we're going to try and get my dad as a co-host or my buddy Alex Stolinar or both if we're able to. So it'll kind of depend on the weather. Let's hope we don't have another polar vortex out there. Luckily, they're playing the game in warmer climates for the Super Bowl. But we're going to get more into the game now after the commercial talk, as I promised. But I'm going to start with a team that coming into this as the big veteran, and somebody's already predicting that the Patriots could possibly win 27-24. This comes from Zach Wilson. We appreciate your comment, Zach. Please continue to comment or predict as you feel to do so while we're talking. And he says, I think the Patriots win 27-24. I don't want them to, but I think they will. I know I talked to a few of my friends about this, and I can kind of see where Zach's coming from on this. He's coming from the idea that the Patriots are more the experienced team, and especially in the Super Bowl. The Rams are a lot younger of a team with a younger coach's first time in the Super Bowl, so it's going to come down to experience when you're starting this game. A lot of people, when they predict things, look at experience. What you see is how the Rams can face that adversity. That's going to be really important for Los Angeles if they want to take and get a Super Bowl title with their head coach, their players, their team. And that's what I think from that comment, Zach. I really like where you're coming from on that. I could see that as well. I've thought about that a few times as well. I was actually talking to my dad this morning about some of the game predictions and what he thought. And he said that might happen too. But that's what will make the game interesting. So, Zach, we appreciate from former WZND news and sports reporter and now reporter for WJBC 1230 AM in Bloomington Normal. Pleasure to have you on here with us, Neil. And we're going to go start with the Patriots first. I guess we got to go with the veteran first. And Bill Belichick used to coach for a Cleveland Browns team before his time with the New England Patriots that was still in Cleveland before they became more than they became the Baltimore Colts, and then they built an expansion team, Cleveland. But anyways, that's kind of where Belichick came from before coming to New England. So many great players came through that program. One of my favorite defenders to watch for the Patriots. Now, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Bears fan. Whereas more of my allegiance to the Bears of Chicago. But watching the Super Bowls, I love watching really great players in the game of football in the NFL, especially watching professional football over the years with friends and family, is Vince Wilfork. That was a guy I remember watching in the Super Bowl when last time I can remember watching the Patriots play so well, even when they played the Giants back when Eli Manning was there, still younger in his career. Jeremy Shockey was the name back in the day. But Tom Brady can do it all from what we could tell. I really like, or at least what I respect from him as a player, is how he faces adversity. You know, he's a leader. There's no question he's a leader to that team, to the area of Boston and Connecticut. He's a leader to them in Massachusetts, and that's why they call him the New England Patriots. That's that New England area is just full of fandom from Brady and their team. But like I was talking about with the run game, that's going to really excite me as a fan to watch, a sports fan, to watch these run games go together. You know, those running backs we just named, James White, the hero in the last Super Bowl win for the Patriots, rookie Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and Mike Gillislee, and all these names that they have in their arsenal. And it's going to be a battle offense for sure. You know, both teams have good tight ends, good wide receivers. You know, former Patriot Brandon Cooks will be facing off against his old team with the Rams. Sadly, Cooper Kupp will be in the game. I think that'd be really exciting to see how his skill of playing a game like the Super Bowl. But with the Patriots, it's going to come down to how well their defense comes out. You know, really good experience. They've come back in Super Bowls before, like we saw when they, as I mentioned, when they beat the Falcons, that big comeback that everybody talks about. But that's what they need to prepare for, but also feel like they could do better early. This is a team that played a close game victory against a potent, strong offensive side team in the Kansas City Chiefs. But what I would want to see as a Patriots fan is that team come out strong early. They come out strong defensively and offensively. There's teams that will come out strong than defensively in the first half than another half, but this is a Super Bowl. This is the big stage in the NFL season where any small play or miscommunication can change your fate of trying to win the title in an instant. That's what the Super Bowl raises those stakes even more. So to me, that's what I want to see. I want to see a Patriots D that comes out early because that Rams offense is so potent, so energetic, so exciting to watch. And obviously, those Patriot defensive men on that defense, because this is a team that, as you mentioned, beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship just a few weeks ago. But they have experience facing those strong offenses, and that's what they're going to have to watch for in Super Bowl 53. And we're going to go into predictions a little bit. I think the player to watch on the Patriots side has to be, it's going to be, I'd say Tom Brady, but I got to go with Brandon Cooks. Or no, not Brandon Cooks, sorry, names. Going to go with Sony Michel. I have my names mixed up there with both teams. There's so many great players, you kind of get your names mixed up. But we're going to go with Sony Michel. Now, yes, we talked about James White, but he's more at the goal line. I think Sony Michel could also be a guy that uses the goal line to confuse the defense of the Rams, because the Rams are going to prepare for certain players, and they're looking at tape, I'm sure, preparing for this game, and they're saying, okay, James White did really good in the postseason, Super Bowl experience for the Patriots, but you're watching for him. That's why if you're the Patriots, you really need to utilize Sony Michel in this game. That's going to be a really big thing. So that's my player to watch is for the Patriots. It's Sony Michel. But I am going to continue now to the team on the other side representing the NFC in the National Football League, Super Bowl 53, the Rams of Los Angeles, formerly the St. Louis Rams. But a young coach in Sean McVay, one of the youngest coaches in NFL history when he was hired at the helm of the Rams. A young quarterback people didn't support too much in his rookie season, but has become his own in Jared Goff, the former quarterback out of California. Todd Gurley, former 10th overall pick, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, and Worth on the Cincinnati Bengal. And there's so many other players on that offense, but also the defense. Greg Zuerlein, real good kicker. There's a lot of names, like we mentioned, for each of these teams. But for the Rams, it's the offense. It has to be the offense needs to come out well early. Now, they're talking about wanting to bring back their backup running back, C.J. Anderson. But to me, the important player to watch is not just Jared Goff, but Todd Gurley. These are younger players in their first action in a Super Bowl in the postseason. So, it's going to be really hyped up. And, here's a third-year quarterback in Jared Goff that's going to be facing probably one of the most experienced quarterbacks still playing the game of football right now in the Super Bowl in Tom Brady. So he's going to have a really big test at him. So if you're Sean McVay, he has a great relationship with his quarterback, even almost compared to what we have now in Chicago. It's starting to begin with Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky. But to me, Jared Goff's just going to have to come out really confident and really strong, and I want to see what he can do. I love the way he plays. Has a really good throw, good pocket passer style. That's what you want to see in this league right now. There's a lot of veteran quarterbacks. It's a trend. Like the Bears with Mitch Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes and with the Chiefs in Kansas City, Baker Mayfield with Cleveland. There's so many young quarterbacks coming into this league and still coming. It's exciting for the future of the fan base of the NFL and all these teams. And Jared Goff, to me, is really exciting in that way. The way he plays, and the story as well. He's had a really big journey to this point in his career, making it to this big stage. Todd Gurley, he's got to be one of my favorite running backs to watch in the NFL or fantasy football, or when you see the highlights. This guy is just out there. This is a guy that was taken 10th overall in the draft he was picked in just a few years ago, and he was injured. He had an injury at the time, but he came back the next season and just was demolishing teams, just making it his own. And I thought it was really exciting to see that. Now we get to see it at the bigger stage. I think Higbee's a really good size at tight end for Jared Goff. A good quarterback style, especially pocket passer, needs a good sized tight end. I think Tyler Higbee's that. You also have the guy in Robert Woods that knows this offense well, working with Goff, and Brandon Cooks. Now, like we talked about, I would love to have seen Cooper Kupp play. Of the wide receivers throughout the league, if I had to pick one that's really interesting to watch in the younger generation of the wide receivers in this league, is Cooper Kupp. He came out of Eastern Washington into the draft, and then he's just emerged this year. But then he had that rough injury, season ending, and that's not what you wanted to see for the Rams. But the Rams have really good depth at their wide receiver position, and their whole offense, I think, is really good. Now, the talk about Andrew Whitworth, I'm going to get into that. They're saying this might be his last game in the NFL. And we see a lot of players do that. Their last game is in the Super Bowl if they're close to retiring or certain things. But I think it's a really curious situation for that offensive line if you're the Rams, because there's going to be guys available. Trent Brown's a tackle that's going to be available. And, they have a lot of money tied up to their offense, but also their defense. And a guy we haven't mentioned because I had to save some time is Aaron Donald, who was just named Defensive Player of the Year. He got a big contract. Him and Khalil Mack have been in the reports about that. They were given big contracts and such, and Donald's played up to it. He's a really great player. And we have some shout-outs while we're talking about the Rams. Somebody must be cheering for the Rams. It is Mr. Ken Cott. How you doing, Mr. Cott? And we'll see whether I say go Rams or Patriots in a little bit. I haven't given you guys my prediction and team choice yet, so bear with me. And my sister from Edwardsville is tuning in, Katie. So hello. And Allie Flessner from Illinois State University, my friend from the student section back in my time as a Redbird. Hope you're doing all doing well, preparing for this exciting Super Bowl 53. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. I'm going to pick my player to watch for the Los Angeles Rams. Drum roll. Todd Gurley, without a doubt, is my player to watch. It was a tie between him and Jared Goff, but I'm going to have to go with Todd Gurley. He's a really explosive player, really good in the pass catching situation, really good in the run games situations that Sean McVay puts him in. And that's what you see developing when we saw Matt Nagy become the head coach this year. Similar to McVay, they have their own styles. They could really just tinker with different things. And I can't wait to see that at the Super Bowl stage. I almost predicted Rams and Chiefs possibly if, surprisingly, the Saints and Patriots would have both lost in the championship games, which one of them did, the Saints. But that was kind of half my Super Bowl prediction originally. But I have to say, I think Todd Gurley deserves to have a really great opportunity. I love watching these running backs in the league. Pretty soon we'll see Saquon Barkley with the Giants in one, hopefully, when the Giants start building their team. The Bears, obviously, Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, Benny Cunningham, and Mitch, and that crew eventually in a Super Bowl maybe as well. There's a lot of great young players in this league right now. And that's just exciting for the future of the league, the future of the Super Bowls that are coming up after this year. But Todd Gurley is my player to watch for the Rams. So, yes, I did pick running backs for each team, but like I talked about, the running games are going to be a really big key. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, prediction time. I am going to first pick my choice of team that I will be cheering for while I watch Super Bowl 53. Now, this is a team that has a really good organization built right now. I like their coach a lot. A really good promise for the future of the league. A really good young quarterback. The run game is real good. Really good leader there. I love their defense in the secondary. I am going to be cheering for Super Bowl 53 this year. My choice is the Los Angeles Rams. I'm cheering for the Rams, and there's a certain reason. We talk about it in the recent episodes of Willow's Fifth Quarter, especially each have heard the Facebook Lives. I'll we want to hear about it, or it should be talked about. I think it's really important that you talk about in the NBA with those teams, the Golden State Warriors and all those teams. You want to see different teams having a chance to win. Now, of course, if a team wins, they work hard, they play fair, they deserve that win. That's not what I'm saying. I love seeing different teams, like the Rams, for example, in the Super Bowl situation. It would have been even more exciting to see the explosive offense of the Rams face the explosive offense of the Chiefs. That would have been even more exciting, too, in the Super Bowl. But we'll maybe have to wait a few years for that, as hopefully my Bears will be headed to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with the Rams. I really like the Rams for this game, and I thought about it a lot just because in terms of predictions, anything could happen. So I'm not the big type to predict things, but I'm going to go to the Twitter poll. We're going to take a look at that. Shout out as well to WZND's news and sports reporter and a friend of the show, Anthony Ferretti. He was our first guest on the first edition of the Redbird Sports Update, and he's been on the show quite a bit as well. So it's pretty cool. And what I'm wondering is, what more we can be excited for in this game. We talk about the offenses, the defenses, all the small stuff, but I want to hear what each of you think. Maybe a messed up play, that kind of turns the tide of the game that no one expects. What do each of you think about one that could happen like that? And I have a thumbs up from my dad, who I'll be watching the game with tonight, as he's on his way home. So we'll be watching the game later. Safe travels to you and Mom, Dad. Love you very much. But the Twitter poll is at 5 votes, still 20 hours remaining on it. So even after the Super Bowl, add fill up that comment section with thoughts about the game. We're going to reflect on the Twitter stuff as well throughout the game, because those predictions will still be valid. But I gave it 4 choices. I want to make them really interesting, based on what I was thinking, based on what people think, and based on the history of the Super Bowl, and based on what history might be new to the Super Bowl, make it more interesting. So choice 1 was the Rams winning 27-14. That's not a bad margin, just considering where both teams are. The second option is the Patriots winning another Super Bowl, getting a record for the coaching side of Belichick, as if Belichick and his Patriots win tonight, he will be tied with 6 Super Bowl wins with George Halas, former Chicago Bears coach and owner, and with Lambeau, who was affiliated with the Green Bay Packers. But choice 3, which hasn't gotten any votes yet, but I think it's a really interesting one, is the Rams winning in overtime. And this has been the thing throughout the league this year. The Bears, and it's in right now in the Chicago area, but Cody Parkey, Blair Walsh a few years ago. It'd be interesting to see the Super Bowl come down to a kick. I'm really interested to see if that's a possibility. But even in overtime, that would be real interesting just because both these teams are so potent on both sides of the ball. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game for a good portion of it. But then it's going to pick up. Like I've been talking about. We don't know what's going to happen, but you can expect the unexpected is what I like to say. So choice 4 is the Patriots winning in overtime. Now, if they do win, I'm happy for Tom Brady. He is kind of the cheating type from what people have said. That's my opinion, of course. That's not everybody's. Like we've said, we're unbiased on the show. But the Patriots winning in overtime. And it looks like out of the 5 votes so far, we're only getting 20% supporting the Rams out of the 5 people. We're seeing 2 bars, 40% for the Patriots winning in overtime as a prediction. And the other one that's 40% is the Patriots winning 27-24. 20% for the Rams winning 27-14. So my score prediction is that 27-14. That was my prediction. A little surprise in that choice there. That was my prediction there. I wanted to surprise people with that. Like, hey, I just made a prediction there. But I think that's going to be what happens. I think that is a pretty valid prediction just because this Rams team is more energetic, I think, on the offensive side. Now, of course, any good veteran player like Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Rob Gronkowski can still play the game well. It's just I like that versatility that the Rams bring. They bring a lot of good energy and excitement. This is their first time in the Super Bowl together as a team and an organization. A lot of young players, so they have a really great future. Why not start it off by coming out of it early on? I think this Rams offense is really going to show the league, hey, we're going to see a lot of exciting offense from teams like the Chicago Bears, the Rams, the Chiefs. We're going to see these offenses in future Super Bowls, and it's going to be really exciting for the league. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be early on the Rams controlling the ball offensively more than the Patriots. And then we're going to probably see the Patriots trying to put something together. Both teams will be good neck and neck. And, of course, the Patriots are going to try and come back in that third or fourth quarter. But I think it's going to be the Rams coming down. And I'm going to predict the final play. It's obviously hard to predict that. But I think it's going to come down to what we saw with Mitch Trubisky in Chicago when they were facing the Eagles. It's going to come down to that young quarterback making the drive that'll define his career a little bit. And it's going to be towards the end of the game. Rams will have good field position after a kick return for about 15 to 20 yards, I think it'll be. 5 or 40-yard line. Their own 30 or 40-yard line. Really good field position. They're only going to have one timeout. They're going to have to start getting out of bounds more. They're going to have 1 minute and 45 seconds. I think it's going to be a 2-minute play, but after the 2-minute warning, they're going to lose a bit of time. Then it'll be the kick. They'll have the ball. They'll be trailing by just a few points. And, the 14. Then they're going to score that touchdown at the second half in the third quarter after the Patriots scored. That's what you see with a lot of teams. But I think it's going to come down to that final play towards the end of the game. The Patriots are trying to get the ball back. They almost got it picked off from the Rams, but the Rams go the game-winning drive. I think it's Todd Gurley getting the ball and running it in for touchdown. I see him getting the running play. That's kind of my prediction. We have some predictions about the game as well. Is Rams winning 27-14. Tom Brady's had a great career. Ways, I'm not going to say cheating because that's kind of a taboo word. It makes me sound like I'm swaying in a certain way. But Tom Brady's ways and Belichick's ways, I don't think will work. So I am not going to be agreeing with our president, the Patriots. I'm going for the LA Rams to win Super Bowl 53, 27-14. We have some predictions as well. My relative Nicole says her mom Ruth is cheering for the Rams, so I'm with Ruth on that one. Go Rams. Pete makes a good prediction about the Patriots as well. It's a good possibility. We're always open to anything on the show. We love making different predictions. And we have 21-20 as a Rams victory prediction. I like that. We're going for the Rams. I'm going for the Rams on this. So whatever way helps the Rams win, I like that. And Ken Cott is cheering for the Rams as well. So go Ken Cott. But Brady and Gronk can prevail by 10 points. So that's a good score prediction. And Mitchell Barnes joining us. Mitchell, go ahead and give us your game prediction. Ruth and Pete say hi. So hello. And number 95 of the Rams went to the University of Nebraska. So that's a good tip. That's a good school. And sadly, this is towards the end of the Facebook Live pre-Super Bowl 53 of Wheels Fifth Quarter Special. So I want to thank those of you that have been, Mitchell Barnum, Ken Cott, Nicole Norris, Anthony Ferretti, Brian and Katie Farlow, Allie Flessner, Rafael Canty, Daniela Jimenez, Neil Doyle, Shantina Gunn, Dr. Steve Hunt, Aaron Horde, Zach Wilson, Beth Gleason, Isaac Missel, Marie Howard, and those of you that will see this after. So Super Bowl 53 is about to start. I'm going to go get ready for it. Going to go get some good grub somewhere. Haven't decided yet. If you have any ideas of where I should go, maybe a Subway or a Buffalo Wild Wings or a Wendy's even, I don't know. Go ahead and give me your food suggestions pre-Super Bowl to get to while I'm watching the game for some dinner. So this is so long from the Super Bowl Facebook Live Wheels Fifth Quarter Special. Like we mentioned in the post-pre episode, go ahead and check out our Twitter. So I'm going to pull it up right here. It's a nice background. So it's at William D. Farlow. It's got a nice little logo there. But I think people will want to see what I'm excited for the possibility of is after a game like this, a lot of people love to talk, and that's what you love to see on Twitter. You know, people interacting and talking certain things about the game. You know, oh, maybe should this happen. You know, I remember the Marshawn Lynch stuff with Seattle happened. There's a lot of talk about that. So it's going to be exciting to see what teams talk about with that. And I'm curious as to what will be discussed after this evening's game. As we mentioned, it starts in just less than a half hour. So this will be so long from Will's fifth quarter specials pre-Super Bowl Facebook Live. But we want to thank each of you for tuning in today. It meant a lot to the show. And we ask you, so I'm gonna pull it up here. I'm gonna write it down a little bit. So I tried putting up that picture, but I don't think it came out too well on the screen. So go ahead and check us out right here at William D. Farlow on the Twitter, or the Facebook, Will's Fifth Quarter Special, or hit us up on Instagram at Will's Fifth Quarter Special, and share your sports voices pre-game, during the game. We want to see any comment or thought you have, and each of those, as we mentioned, will be shared, as well as these comments about game predictions or players or predictions about the game or the teams. These will be read during episode 26. These will be talked about in that discussion. We'll talk about some of those. So for all of you that have tuned in to this video, I'm very appreciative. We here at Will's Fifth Quarter Special are appreciative of your time. We hope each of you, time with your friends, family, and loved ones watching Super Bowl 53. Stay safe on all those roads. It's getting a little bit slippery after that polar vortex snow is melting. So from Lansing, Illinois, this is Will Farlow, the host of the show you love. After the buzzer sounds at the end of the game, even after the Super Bowl, keep tuning in to the Fifth Quarter Sports Talk. So for Will Farlow, this is been a pre-Super Bowl edition. When the fourth quarter buzzer sounds at the end of a sports game, you continue to turn to us for your Fifth Quarter Sports Talk. So long from Will's Fifth Quarter Special, and go Rams. Have a good Super Bowl, guys.